I'm JasonRobinhood, and these are the stocks of the day for Friday, February 4th, 2022. Okay, so it is currently 1:37 p.m. here in Las Vegas, Friday, February 4th, 2022, and we are going to go over the stocks of the day. A kind of mixed market today. Two of the three indexes were positive. The Dow Jones was negative 21 points, currently trading at 35,089. The S&P 500 was plus 23 points, currently trading at 4,500. The Nasdaq 100 was plus 219 points today, currently trading at 14,098. The VIX is at a 23 handle. It was negative 4% today. The 10-year was up today, currently trading at a year high 1.919. So this is the first time we hit 1.9 on the 10-year, and let's see where Bitcoin is at. Bitcoin is having an extremely exciting day. It's up $2,000. Bitcoin is currently trading at $4,000 a coin. Currently up 7% today, and for the week, Bitcoin is currently up 7%. But for the past month, Bitcoin is still down 11%. Bitcoin is still down $5,000. So if you see a 45,000 handle, we'll basically be back to where we were at the beginning of this year. In this series, we go over the top 5 performing stocks from each of the 3 major indexes. So we cover about 15 stocks. So this is helpful. I believe this series is helpful for long-term and short-term investors. The first 5 stocks we're going to start off with are the stocks in the Dow Jones. As I mentioned, the Dow Jones was negative 21 points today, but we did find 5 winners. The first stock we're going to look up is ticker symbol CRM. Salesforce. As you can see, Salesforce was up 3.04% today. It did not give any of that back in the after hours market. That's always a good sign. Salesforce is actually down 6%, 6.92% for the past year. So it's basically underperforming the Dow Jones. It's underperforming the market, obviously. And for the past 5 years, the Salesforce is up. If you're a long-term investor in Salesforce, Salesforce is plus 181.79% the past 5 years. So really helpful for long-term investors. But Salesforce does not pay a dividend. CRM does not pay a dividend, but it was the best performing stock on the Dow Jones today, up over 3%. Next stock for the best performing stocks on the Dow Jones is ticker symbol JPM. Jpmorgan Chase. As you can see, Jpmorgan Chase was plus 2.60% today. It has not given back any of that in the after hours market. That's always a good sign. Jpmorgan Chase is plus 12% over the past year. So basically averaging 1% return per month. Not a terrible sign. But still basically in line with the Dow Jones. I think the Dow Jones is up basically 10 to 15%. So it's basically in line with the Dow Jones. And for the past 5 years, if you were a long-term investor in JPMorgan has returned 77% to the penny. JPMorgan does pay a 2.56% dividend. Pretty healthy dividend for a long-term investor. That's a good amount, 2.5%. And as you can see, I have 1 share of JPMorgan. I have 1 share of JPMorgan. Next stock for the best performing stocks in the Dow Jones is Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs, as you can see, was plus 2.43%. It has not given any of that back in the after hours market. That's a good sign. Goldman Sachs is up 26.76% in the past year, clearly outperforming the Dow Jones basically by double, I would imagine, basically double what the Dow Jones has done. And for the past 5 years, Goldman Sachs is up 56.05%, basically averaging about, not averaging 10% a year, but if you want to say that, you could basically say it's been up basically over 10% per year. That's a good return for Goldman Sachs. And Goldman Sachs does pay a dividend, 1.81% dividend for GS. Next stock for the best performing stocks in the Dow Jones is ticker symbol DIS, Disney. Disney was up 1.42%. That's a pretty good move for Disney. It has not given any of that back in the after hours market. That's always a good sign. But oh wow, Disney chart is pretty ugly. Disney is actually down 20% over the past year. If you're looking for the high in the stock, the high was around March of last year. Basically next month was the high last year, March 8th, 2021, and that price was $201 a share. It's currently trading at $142 a share. So a lot of room to run in the stock if it could get up to those highs again. But Disney has returned 29.27% the past 5 years. Kind of underperforming the market, but positive in the past 5 years. And I think, but Disney does not pay a dividend. Disney does not pay a dividend. And the last stock for the best performing stocks in the Dow Jones is ticker symbol CVX, Chevron. As you can see, Chevron was up 1.25% and has not given any of that back in the after hours market. That is a good sign. Chevron is clearly in a complete bull market, a beautiful chart, up 51.80% in the past year, clearly outperforming the Dow Jones by like 5 to 1 at least, or at least 4 to 1, you could say. And for the past 5 years, Chevron is up 20.09% in the past 5 years. It looks like it's at its high right now, right? I don't see a higher chart. Basically, yeah, it's basically at its high right now, so you have to be aware of that. There is no high in this stock in the past 5 years, so keep an eye on Chevron. Seems like the sky's the limit on this stock at the moment, and it pays a 3.96% dividend. One of the best stocks in the stock market, and one of the best sectors in the stock market is energy. So those were the top 5 performance stocks in the Dow Jones. As I mentioned, the Dow Jones was down 21 points today, currently trading at 35,089 points. The Dow Jones is actually negative 4% this year to date so far. So Dow Jones is negative 4% year to date. Obviously, we want to keep an eye on those 89 points. If we could hold those 89 points, hopefully we could trade up to 36,000. But if we lose those 89 points, we will be trading all the way down to 34,000 on the Dow Jones. Next 5 stocks we're going to go over are the 5 stocks for the S&P 500. As I mentioned, the S&P 500 was plus 23 points today. First stock for the best performance stocks in the S&P 500 is Amazon. Amazon was plus 13.54%. Has not given any of that back in the after hours market. That's a good sign. Amazon released earnings last night. I believe they raised prices on Amazon Prime. So that's why this stock moved up this much. And for the past year, Amazon is actually negative 5%. Even though it was up 13% today, Amazon was basically negative almost 20%, 18% yesterday. That's interesting. So you keep an eye on that. If you're looking for a high in this stock, looks like that number is about 37.31, or maybe, let me see. Yeah, 37.21, 37.31. And for the past 5 years, if you've been a long-term investor in Amazon, it has returned 278.33% the past 5 years. A good chart for a long-term investor in Amazon, but Amazon does not pay a dividend. Next stock for the best performance stocks in the S&P 500 is ticker symbol NLOK. NLOK was plus 8.71% today. It has not given much back in the after hours market. That's a good sign. NLOK Norton LifeLock is up 26% in the past year. That's basically a little bit higher than the S&P 500. I think the S&P 500 was up about 20% last year, a pretty good market. So basically, Norton LifeLock has traded in line, but pretty bullish chart. If you could look at this chart right here, I think it's at its trading is at its highs at the moment. This is $28. About $28 is the high. If you're looking for the high in this stock, about 50 cents away from the high in this stock. And for the past 5 years, this stock is basically even. And NLOK does pay a 1.97% dividend. Next stock for the best performing stocks in the S&P 500 is ticker symbol TTWO. Take-Two Interactive. Take-Two Interactive was plus 7.35% today. It has not given any of that back in the after-hours market. That's always a good sign. But Take-Two Interactive is actually down 13.67% in the past year. That's a terrible sign. It's clearly underperforming the S&P 500 by like 20, almost 30% basically. But for the past 5 years, Take-Two Interactive is actually positive 227.04%. So clearly a long-term investor has been rewarded for holding the stock for over 5 years. And if you're looking for the high in the stock, the price, that price was about last year, January 8th. Looks like that was $210 a share, and it's currently trading at $175 a share. So obviously you want to keep an eye on the next $35 if you're looking to trade into this stock. But Take-Two Interactive does not pay a dividend. Take-Two Interactive does not pay a dividend. Next stock for the best performing stocks in the S&P 500 is Twitter. Ticker symbol TWTR. Wow, beautiful sign. Did Twitter have earnings today? I think Twitter is moving off of Snap earnings. That's interesting. I don't know if Twitter released earnings this week. I know Snap released earnings yesterday, and those earnings were really good. So I'm thinking that's what this move is. I don't remember any news for Twitter today. But either way, Twitter was up 7% today, 7.13%. It has not given, it's actually still gaining some in the after hours market. That's a really, really good sign. Oh my goodness, this chart is the worst chart we've seen today. Twitter's actually down 32.52% the past year. I mean, yesterday's chart was down basically 40% yesterday. Oh my goodness, wow. But for long-term investors, if you've held this stock for longer than 5 years, Twitter has returned 121.30% in the past 5 years. But Twitter does not pay a dividend. Twitter does not pay a dividend. And the last stock for the best performing stocks in the S&P 500 is ticker symbol LNC, Lincoln Financial Group. As you can see, Lincoln Financial Group was up 6.38% today, has not given any of that back in the after hours market. That is a great sign. Lincoln Financial Group is up 51.17%. I think this is probably the strongest chart we've seen all day. This is a really good chart. I mean, I'm buying one of these shares. Stock is up. LNC is actually up only 4% the past 5 years. Let's see if it pays a dividend. And it pays a 2.54% dividend. I'm going to actually add this to my watch list. I may pick up a share or two of this on Monday. I like this chart. Up 51% in the past year, and up 6% today. So I'm going to keep an eye on this chart. And it's up 1% in the past month, right? Why not? So those were the 5 best performing stocks in the S&P 500. As I mentioned, the S&P 500 was plus 23 points, currently trading at 4,500 on the dot. Unfortunately, year-to-date, S&P 500 is actually down 6%. So there's clearly still a lot of room to run on the S&P 500. Some bulls have the year-end number. They have a price of 5,300. So we're currently trading at 4,500. Some bulls have the year-end number at 5,300. So you want to keep an eye on that number. Next, in the last 5 stocks we're going to go over today are for the Nasdaq 100. As I mentioned, the Nasdaq 100 was plus 219 points. Let's see how do we get there. First stock for the best performance stocks in the Nasdaq 100 is Datadog. Datadog. Datadog, as you can see, ticker symbol DDOG, was up 8.87% today. It gave back 0.17% in the after hours market. Not too much, not too much in the after hours market. Datadog is actually up 33.94%. I think the Nasdaq was up like 5 to maybe even like 10% last year. So this stock is clearly 3 times the performance of the Nasdaq 100 at the moment. Pretty bullish chart. You can see this chart is up 100. I don't know. Okay, it IPO'd in 2019, and that price was $34 a share, and currently trading at $150 a share. Wow, that's pretty interesting. If you're looking for a high in this chart, that number was $196, and that happened in November of 2021, about 3-4 months ago, right? 3 months ago. So you have about $50 in this stock. You want to keep an eye on the next $50 if it can break that if it can break that $196 mark, can it get above 200? You want to keep an eye on that DDOG if you are a long-term investor. But DDOG does not pay a dividend, and it's already on one of my watch lists. Next stock for the best performance stocks in the Nasdaq 100 is ticker symbol Ftnt. Ftnt was up 5.84%. Gave it tiny back in the after hours market, 0.14%. Nothing too bad. For the year, this stock is up 107.37%. Wow, this chart is. This is clearly the best chart. Some stocks don't even do this in 5 years, right? We've seen like 3 or 4 charts we could put together that hasn't performed this well in 5 years. So this chart is clearly in its own bull market on its own. Let's see what it's done in the past. Wow. In the past 5 years, if you were a long-term investor, let's say you bought it in 2017, 5 years ago. In March 2017, you put $100 down, about 3 shares. Now those 3 shares is about $1,000. Wow. This stock is up 859.06%, clearly in its own bull market. If you're looking for a high in this chart, you probably want to see the high. The high happened last December, a few months ago, about 2 months ago, right? If not, basically like less than a month ago, or a little more than a month ago, December 28th, that number was $367 a share, currently trading at $313 a share. So obviously you want to keep an eye on the next $40 to $50 in this stock. But Fortnite does not pay a dividend. Next stock for the best performance stocks in the Nasdaq 100 is ticker symbol ZS, Zscaler. Zscaler was up 5.70% today. It has not given any of that back in the after hours market. That is a good sign. Zscaler is up 23.26% in the past year, clearly outperforming the Nasdaq 100, basically a double over the Nasdaq 100. Wow. And wow, look at this chart. And for the past, let's see the high. The high in this chart, the high was November 19th, $368 a share, almost basically $110 away from the high in this stock. You definitely want to keep an eye on this stock, the next $110. If it could break that $368 a share, it will be clearly going to the moon. Either way, if you've been a long-term investor in this stock has returned, or in Zscaler, ticker symbol ZS, this stock has returned 881.75% for long-term 5-year holders. If you bought this stock when it IPO'd in 2018, it was $28 a share. Wow. And Zscaler does not pay a dividend, unfortunately. Next stock for the best performance stocks in the Nasdaq 100 is ticker symbol TEAM, TEAM. TEAM, as you can see, was up 5.42% today and has not given any of that back in the after hours market. TEAM is up 30.98% in the past year. If you want to see the high in that stock, that happened in October 29th, 2021, about 4 months ago, and that price was $458 a share, currently trading at $320 a share. Obviously, you want to keep an eye on the next $140 if it could break that high of $368, right? $358. So the next $130, you want to keep an eye on this stock if it could break those highs. $140. But either way, if you're a long-term investor in this stock has gone completely parabolic with a return for the past 5 years of 1,066.52% in the past 5 years. If you bought this stock in 2017, you paid about $28 a share, and it's currently trading at $320 a share. Ticker symbol TEAM actually does not pay a dividend. And the last stock we're going to go over for the best performing stocks in the Nasdaq 100 is Palo Alto Networks. As you can see, Palo Alto Networks, ticker symbol PANW, is up 4.69% today. It has not given any of that back in the after hours market. That is a good sign. Ticker symbol PANW is up 36.53%, so clearly outperforming the Nasdaq 100, clearly in a bull market. If you're looking for a high in this stock, that number was about 2 months ago, December 27, 2021, $568 a share, and you're currently trading at $515 a share. So you want to keep an eye on that number, that $568, if you are looking to get in this stock, if you can get above that number. And for long-term investors in this stock, if you held this stock for 5 years, this ticker symbol PANW has returned 257.44% in the past 5 years. But PANW does not pay a dividend. And those were 5 of the best performing stocks in the Nasdaq 100 today. As I mentioned, the Nasdaq 100 was plus 219 points, currently trading at 14,098 points. The Nasdaq 100 is actually negative 10% on year to date. So it's not looking so good for the Nasdaq 100. Companies were down 10%. Clearly a lot of room to run. This is the time when you could outperform the market. If the market does end up positive at, this year, let's say the Nasdaq 100 ends up 10% positive. If you buy now, which I'm doing, I could be positive 20%. But if it goes negative, then hey, we'll be even more negative. But that's how you basically outperform the market. You buy the dips, and when it does go positive, you will outperform the market. But it's definitely difficult to buy at times like this. This is why we do shows like this, to find the winners in the stock market. I'm JasonRobinhood. Did you discover any new stocks in this video? Do you have any stocks in your portfolio that are performing well for you that you would like to recommend to myself or the other viewers of this video? I'm JasonRobinhood. These were the stocks of the day for Friday, February 4th, 2022. Stay long in the stock market.